Captain Jun Woo looked out the window of the human transport ship as they came close to the space station. The station was huge, bigger than any city he had seen on Earth. Lights blinked all over its surface, and ships from many different worlds came and went like busy insects. "First time seeing Harmony's Edge?" asked Dr. Hana Yoon as she walked up beside him. She carried a bag full of data tablets and looked excited. "Yes," Junwoo said. "It's bigger than I thought it would be." The space station was where all the different alien races met to talk and make deals. Today, humans would join the Galactic Council for the first time. Junwoo felt nervous but tried not to show it. Earth had waited a long time for this moment. Their ship moved slowly toward the docking bay. Through the clear walls, Junwoo could see strange beings walking around inside the station. Some looked like living crystals that sparkled in the light. Others were like clouds of gas that floated instead of walking. There were bug-like creatures with many arms and eyes that glowed different colors. "Remember," Hana said, "we need to be very careful. Some of these aliens have never seen humans before. We don't want to scare them." Junwoo nodded. He knew how important this meeting was. If it went well, humans could trade with other worlds and learn new things. If it went badly, Earth might be left alone in space forever. The ship connected to the docking bay with a soft bump. Junwoo checked his uniform one more time and walked toward the door. Hana followed behind him with her bags. But before they could leave the ship, they heard a loud bark from the back room. "Oh no," Hana said. "I forgot about Bada." Junwoo smiled. "He's been sleeping for 3 days. He must be hungry." "Maybe we should leave him on the ship," Hana said. "The aliens might not understand." "He's part of our team," Junwoo said. "Besides, he gets sad when he's alone." They walked to the back room and opened the door. Inside was a creature that would give most people nightmares. Bada was as big as a small car, with black armor covering his body. His teeth were as long as knives, and his claws could cut through metal. But when he saw Junwoo, his tail started wagging so hard it hit the walls. "Good morning, boy," Junwoo said, patting Bada's huge head. "Ready to meet some new friends?" Bada barked happily and jumped up to lick Junwoo's face with a tongue the size of a dinner plate. They walked toward the door that led to the station. Junwoo went first, then Hana, then Bada bounded after them, excited to explore new smells and sounds. The moment they stepped into the docking bay, everything went wrong. A crystal being that was talking to a gas cloud suddenly stopped and made a high screeching sound. The gas cloud started flashing red lights. Bug-like creatures dropped what they were holding and reached for weapons. "Security!" someone shouted in a language that sounded like breaking glass. Alarms started ringing all over the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. Junwoo heard the sound of energy weapons charging up, ready to fire. And in the middle of all this chaos, Bada saw all the new people and got very excited. He started running toward them with his tail wagging, wanting to say hello. This made things much worse. The crystal being, who Junwoo later learned was Ambassador Kethtar, made sounds like a car crash. The gas cloud shot up to the ceiling. Bug soldiers ran in from all directions with their weapons pointed at Bada. "Monster!" someone screamed. "It's going to kill us all!" But then Junwoo did something that made everyone stop and stare. He laughed. "Down, Bada! Good boy!" he called out in a happy voice. Bada stopped running and dropped down with his front end low and his back end high, tail still wagging. This was how he asked to play. The entire docking bay went silent except for the alarms. Junwoo walked over to Bada and scratched behind the armor plates on his head. Bada made a happy rumbling sound and closed his eyes. "Don't worry," Hana said to the shocked aliens. "This is Bada. He's a dog." "A dog?" Ambassador Kethtar asked. His crystal body was still flashing with fear colors. "Yes," Hana said calmly. "Dogs are companion animals from Earth. They live with humans as friends and helpers." "That thing is your friend?" asked a bug soldier who was still pointing his weapon at them. "He's been my friend since he was a puppy," Junwoo said, still petting Bada. "He's very gentle. He just wanted to meet everyone." The aliens looked at each other with confusion. How could these small, soft creatures be friends with something that looked like it could eat a spaceship? You live with this predator?" Kethtar asked. "Many humans have dogs," Hana explained. "We've been friends with them for thousands of years. They help us hunt, guard our homes, and keep us company." "But it has teeth like knives," said the gas cloud, who had come down from the ceiling. "So do we," Junwoo said with a smile. "But we don't bite our friends." Fleet Commander Nixara, a big bug creature with scars on her armor, slowly put down her weapon. She walked closer, but stayed far enough away to run if needed. "It obeys you?" she asked. "Watch this," Junwoo said. "Bada, sit." Bada sat down immediately, even though he was excited and wanted to explore. "Bada, shake hands." Bada lifted one huge paw. Junwoo shook it gently. The aliens stared in amazement. "How is this possible?" Kethtar asked. "Dogs and humans grew up together," Hana said. "We helped each other survive. They are not just pets. They are family." "Your species makes family bonds with apex predators?" Nixara asked, sounding impressed and worried at the same time. "Only the friendly ones," Junwoo said with a smile. The alarms finally stopped ringing, but the tension in the air was still thick. Many aliens were whispering to each other in their strange languages. Some looked scared. Others looked curious. "Perhaps," said a new voice, "we should continue this discussion in a more private place." Everyone turned to see Regent Molthuri, the leader of the Galactic Council. He was tall and thin, with purple skin that seemed to glow. "The emergency session has been called," he said. "We have many questions about this human-predator alliance." As they walked toward the meeting rooms, Junwoo noticed Nixara walking beside him. "Tell me, human," she said quietly. "Could your dog hunt void stalkers?" Junwoo looked at her with surprise. "What are void stalkers?" Nixara's eyes grew dark. "Monsters that have been killing our people in the outer systems. Monsters that nothing can stop." She looked at Bada, who was walking happily beside them, sniffing everything with interest. "If your friend can really hunt apex predators," she said, "we may need his help very soon." 3 days after the meeting with the Galactic Council, Junwoo stood in the briefing room looking at pictures that made his stomach feel sick. Dead ships floated in space like empty metal shells. Inside them, security cameras had recorded the last moments of the crews before something killed them all. "The attack started 6 months ago," Fleet Commander Nixara said, pointing at a star map. "First it was small ships in the outer rim. Now entire colonies are going dark." Dr. Hana Yoon studied the recordings on her tablet. "In the videos, the crew members were working normally when suddenly they would stop and look around with fear. Then the lights would flicker and something would move in the shadows. The cameras would shake, there would be screaming, and then nothing." "What exactly are we fighting?" Junwoo asked. "We call them void stalkers," said scientist Primatel, whose gas body swirled with worried colors. They appear from nowhere, phase through our ship walls like they are made of air, and kill everything inside. Phase through walls? Hana asked. They can become solid or like ghosts, Nixara explained. When they are ghosts, our weapons pass right through them. When they are solid, they are too strong to hurt. Ambassador Cathatar's crystal body flashed with angry lights. We have lost 3 entire star systems. Millions of people are dead. Our best weapons are useless. Have you tried different types of weapons? Junwoo asked. Everything, Primatel said sadly. Energy beams, solid bullets, explosives, poison gas. Nothing works when they are in ghost form, and nothing is strong enough when they are solid. Hana was still looking at the recordings. How do they hunt? Do they just attack randomly? No, Nixara said. They are smart. They study their prey first. They can sense life from very far away and know exactly where to find the crew. Can you show me the sensor readings when they attack? Hana asked. Primatel shared the data with Hana's tablet. She looked at the numbers for a long time, her eyes getting wider. This is interesting, she said. The electromagnetic patterns they use to track prey. I've seen something like this before. Where? Junwoo asked. On Earth. Some of our predators hunt the same way. They can sense the electrical activity in their prey's body and predict where they will move next. She turned to Junwoo with excitement in her eyes. What if Earth animals could sense these creatures too? The aliens looked confused. You think your predator friends could detect void stalkers? Kethtar asked. Maybe, Hana said. If the hunting methods are similar, then predators from Earth might understand how void stalkers think. Nixara leaned forward. Are you suggesting we bring more of your monsters here? They're not monsters, Junwoo said firmly. And yes, if there's a chance they can help, we should try. 2 days later, a human military ship arrived at the station. Junwoo waited at the docking bay with several nervous aliens who wanted to see more Earth creatures but were scared at the same time. Lieutenant Dong-min stepped off the ship first. He was young and had kind eyes, but he moved like a soldier. Behind him came Chief Engineer Kyung-ho, who carried strange electronic devices. Where are they? Junwoo asked. In the transport bay, Dong-min said with a smile. I brought 3 of our best. They walked to the back of the ship. When the doors opened, the aliens took several steps back. Bada ran out first, happy to see Junwoo again. But he was not alone. A smaller creature bounded after him. This one was built for speed, with long legs and bright eyes that missed nothing. Her name was Nari. Last came the biggest one. Taehoon was twice the size of Bada, with massive shoulders and a calm, patient expression. He walked slowly and studied everything around him like he was making a map in his mind. Sweet mother of stars, whispered Primatel. How many of these things do you have on Earth? Nixara asked. Dogs? Millions, Dong-min said casually. These are just 3 of my pack. Your pack? Kethtar asked. We work together, Dong-min explained. They help me, I help them. We understand each other. As if to prove his point, Nari suddenly stopped playing and looked toward the far end of the station. Her body went stiff, and she made a low sound in her throat. What is it, girl? Dong-min asked. Nari whined and pointed her nose toward the outer docking bays. That's impossible, Primatel said, checking his sensors. There's nothing there. But Kyung-ho was already setting up his equipment. Nari has never been wrong about predators, he said. If she senses something, something is there. For the next hour, Nari kept looking toward the same area, getting more and more worried. The aliens checked their sensors over and over but found nothing. Then the alarms started ringing. "Void Stalker attack in Section 12, someone announced over the speakers. Section 12 was exactly where Nari had been looking. How did she know? Nixara asked in amazement. Predator instincts, Hana said. She could sense it before your machines could. They ran toward Section 12, but by the time they got there, the attack was over. The Void Stalker had killed 3 maintenance workers and disappeared. It's gone, Primatel said, checking his readings. But Tai Hoon was sniffing the air and walking in slow circles. Suddenly he sat down in one spot and looked up at Dong Min. He's telling us something, Dong Min said. Tai Hoon, what is it? The big dog kept looking at the same spot in the air, about 6 feet above the floor. That's where it will come back, Dong Min said with certainty. How can you know that? Nixara asked. Tai Hoon can predict where prey will move. If he says, the creature will return to this spot, it will. They waited for 2 hours. The aliens got impatient, but Dong Min and his dogs stayed calm and ready. Then, exactly where Tai Hoon had predicted, the air began to shimmer. It's coming back, Primatel shouted. The Void Stalker materialized. It was a nightmare creature made of darkness and hunger, with claws that could cut through metal and eyes like burning stars, but it was not ready for what happened next. All 3 dogs moved at the same time. Nari was already running before the creature fully appeared. Beta came from the left side. Tai Hoon blocked the escape route. The creature tried to phase out, to become a ghost again. But somehow the dogs knew exactly when and where it would reappear. Every time it tried to escape, one of them was waiting. Incredible, Kethtar whispered. They hunt as one mind. The Void Stalker realized it was trapped. It became solid and tried to fight, but the dogs were too smart. They worked together, staying just out of reach while Dong Min and the others attacked with weapons. When the creature finally fell, the dogs gathered around Dong Min, tails wagging, waiting for praise. Good pack, he said, petting each of them. Very good pack. The aliens stared in shock. They had just watched 3 monsters from Earth successfully hunt the most dangerous predator in the galaxy. How many ships can you send? Nixara asked suddenly. What do you mean? Junwoo asked. To the outer rim, to hunt the rest of them. How many human predator teams can Earth send? Junwoo looked at Dong Min, who was still petting his dogs. How many do you need? Dong Min asked. All of them, Nixara said. We just got a message from the Rim colonies. There's something much bigger coming. Something that makes these Void Stalkers look small. She showed them a new sensor reading. Far out in space, something was moving toward the inner systems. Something the size of a battleship. The Alpha, she said. The leader of the Void Stalkers. And it's heading straight for the Council homeworld. Nari whined and pressed against Dong Min's leg. Even from this far away, she could sense that whatever was coming was more dangerous than anything they had faced before. We'll need more than 3 dogs, Dong Min said quietly. How many more? Junwoo asked. Dong Min looked at the sensor reading again. All of them, he said. We're going to need every dog on Earth. The war room on Harmony's Edge had never been so crowded or so tense. Representatives from every member species of the Galactic Council sat around the huge table, but all eyes were on the humans and their companions. Colonel Yoon Soo stood at the front of the room, calm and confident despite the chaos around her. Beside her sat Dr. Hei Wan, a small woman who studied animal behavior. Around them lay 12 dogs of different sizes and types, all resting quietly but alert. The Alpha will reach the Council homeworld in 72 hours, Regent Molth Uri announced. His purple skin had lost its glow and looked pale with worry. Our defense fleets are in position, but based on what we've seen from smaller void stalkers, conventional weapons will be useless. What makes you think your animals can stop something that size? Asked Commander Vexali, a reptilian being whose scales rattled with anger. The Alpha is the size of a moon. Dr. Hay-Wan stood up slowly. Around her, the dogs lifted their heads to watch. You're asking the wrong question, she said. You should ask how we've been able to work together for so long. She pressed a button, and a hologram appeared showing ancient Earth. Humans lived in small groups, surrounded by dangerous predators, giant cats with sword-like teeth, massive bears, wolves that hunted in packs. Thousands of years ago, humans were not the strongest or fastest creatures on Earth. We were prey, just like you are now to the Void Stalkers. The hologram changed to show humans and wolves working together, hunting the same mammoth. But some predators realized that working with humans was better than fighting us. We could make tools and plan ahead. They could track prey and sense danger we couldn't detect. You formed alliances with predators? Kethtar asked, his crystal body flickering with interest. More than alliances, Colonel Yunsu said. We became family. We learned to think as one mind, to move as one body. To prove her point, she made a small hand signal. Instantly, all 12 dogs stood up and moved into a perfect formation without making a sound. Another signal, and they spread out around the room, each one taking a position where they could watch a different group of aliens. Another signal, and they all lay down again, but their eyes never stopped watching. How do they know what you want? Primatel asked, his gas form swirling with amazement. We don't just give them commands, Dr. Hay-Wan explained. We communicate. Watch. She knelt down next to Bada and looked into his eyes. For a moment, they seemed to be having a conversation that no one else could hear. Then Bada got up and walked to the hologram controls. Using his nose, he changed the display to show the sensor readings of the approaching Alpha. He understood what we needed, Dr. Hay-Wan said. No words, no commands. He knew. The aliens whispered among themselves in their strange languages. This was beyond anything they had seen before. But the Alpha is intelligent too, Nixara pointed out. It's not just a beast. It thinks and plans. So do they, Colonel Yunsu said, nodding toward the dogs. But more importantly, they understand. Pack dynamics. They know how predators think because they are predators. She activated a new hologram showing the tactical situation. The Alpha was surrounded by hundreds of smaller void stalkers, all moving in coordinated patterns. Your sensors. See this as a random swarm, she said. But watch how our companions react. The dogs in the room all stood up and began moving in response to the hologram. They formed groups of 3 and 4, with some staying back to guard while others moved forward. They see it as a pack, Dr. Hay-Wan said. With an Alpha leader, lieutenant hunters and scout guards. They know exactly how this formation will attack because they've been part of similar formations for thousands of years. Young Lieutenant Dongmin stepped forward with Nari at his side. Nari can tell us where the Alpha will strike first, he said. Not from sensor data, but from understanding pack behavior. Nari walked to the hologram and sat down, pointing her nose at one specific planet. That one, Dongmin said. The Alpha will hit that world first to test our defenses. How can she possibly know that? Demanded Vexali. It's the weakest defended planet, but close enough to the homeworld that the Alpha can study our response, Dr. HFY explained. It's exactly what an Earth predator would do before attacking the main target. Regent Molth Uri checked his tactical reports. That planet only has a small defense station. We assumed the Alpha would ignore it and go straight for the homeworld. That's human thinking, Colonel Yunsu said. Predators test their prey first. As if summoned by their conversation, an aide rushed into the room with an urgent message. Sir, we're receiving distress calls from Kepler Station. They're under attack by a massive void stalker. The room erupted in surprised voices. But the humans remained calm. Nari had been right. How long before it reaches the homeworld? Molth Uri asked. 8 hours, sir. It destroyed the station in minutes and is continuing on course. Then we need to move now, Colonel Yunsu said, but not with your traditional tactics. We fight as a pack. She turned to address the full council. Every ship in your defense fleet needs a human dog team. We'll coordinate your attacks based on pack hunting strategies. You want to put your monsters on every ship in our fleet? Vexali asked. They're not monsters, said a small voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to see a young alien child who had somehow gotten past security. She was a Vorthak, her small crystal body glowing with curiosity instead of fear. I've been watching them, she said. The big one brought me a toy when I dropped it. The fast one helped me find my lost pet. They're nice. Her mother, an adult Vorthok, rushed in to get her. I'm sorry. She got away from me. But the child kept talking. Why are the grown-ups scared of them? They're friendly. Like the pictures in my storybooks of Earth animals. The room went quiet. This small child saw what the adults had missed. The dogs weren't monsters pretending to be friendly. They were genuinely gentle creatures who chose to be friends with humans. Dr. HFY knelt down to the child's level. Would you like to pet one of them? The child's mother started to object, but stopped when she saw how excited her daughter was. Tae-hoon, the biggest and calmest of the dogs, slowly walked over and lay down, so he was the same size as the child. She reached out with one small crystal hand and touched his fur. He didn't move, except to very gently wag his tail. He's warm, the child said with wonder, and soft under the armor. Other aliens began to see what the child saw. These creatures had been bred not for fighting, but for friendship. Their strength was used to protect, not to destroy. If we do this, Molth Uri said slowly, if we trust your pack tactics, what do you need from us? Trust, Colonel Yunsu said simply. When a dog team tells you to turn left, you turn left. When they say attack, you attack. When they say run, you run. And if we do this, can we win? Dr. HFY looked at the tactical display showing the massive Alpha surrounded by its pack of void stalkers. In a normal fight? No. The Alpha is too big and too strong. She smiled and looked around the room at her companions. But this won't be a normal fight. This will be the first time two apex predator species have faced each other as equals. And predators understand one thing above all else. The pack that works together best is the pack that survives. Outside the station, stars twinkled peacefully, unaware that in a few hours they would witness something unprecedented in galactic history. Not a battle between enemies, but a confrontation between two species that had both learned the ultimate lesson of survival. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from choosing friendship over fear. The space around the Council homeworld looked like a storm of stars and metal. Hundreds of ships from different alien races formed defensive lines, but this was unlike any battle formation the galaxy had ever seen. On every ship, human-dog teams, worked alongside alien crews, bringing together thousands of years of pack-hunting wisdom with advanced space technology. Captain So-Ra commanded the lead battle group from her flagship, the Harmony. The bridge was crowded with both humans and aliens, all working together in controlled chaos. At her feet lay 3 dogs, Bada, Nari, and a new arrival called Moon Ho, whose specialty was sensing electromagnetic changes. Alpha contact in 30 minutes, announced Engineer Jae-sung from his station. Around him, alien technicians watched in amazement as he modified their weapon systems based on data from the dogs. Instead of trying to hurt the Void Stalkers directly, the new weapons worked with the dogs' natural hunting instincts. Any word from the scout teams? So-Ra asked. Lieutenant Dong Min's voice came through the communicator from a smaller ship at the edge of the fleet. Nari says the smaller Void Stalkers are confused. They keep changing formation like they can't decide what to do. Dr. Hae-won, who was monitoring the dog's behavior from the command center, smiled. The Alpha is learning. It's studying how we work together. That doesn't sound good, said Commander Nixara from her own ship. Actually, it's very good, Hae-won replied. It means the Alpha is treating us as equals, not just prey. Through the main view screen, they could see the edge of space beginning to change. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist as something massive moved through dimensions beyond normal space. Then the Alpha appeared. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. The Alpha Void Stalker was not just big, it was like a living piece of the universe itself. Its body seemed to be made of dark energy that sparked with dying stars. It moved with grace that shouldn't be possible for something so huge. Around it, smaller Void Stalkers materialized in perfect formation, but instead of attacking immediately, they stopped and waited. Why aren't they attacking? Keth Tar asked from the diplomatic observation ship. Moon Ho lifted his head and whined softly. The other dogs throughout the fleet began making similar sounds. They're communicating, Jae-sung said, reading his modified sensors. The Alpha is sending electromagnetic pulses. Can we understand what it's saying? So-Ra asked. Dr. Hae-won checked the translation computers. It's not using language like we know it. It's more like emotional concepts. The pulses continued for several minutes. Then, to everyone's surprise, young Dong Min's voice came over the communication system. I think I understand some of it, he said quietly. It's curious about us, about how we work with our pack. How can you know that? Nixara asked. Nari is responding to the pulses, Dong Min explained. She's not scared anymore. She's interested. On ships throughout the fleet, the dogs were all acting the same way. Instead of preparing for battle, they seemed to be having a conversation with the Void Stalkers. Then something unprecedented happened. One of the smaller Void Stalkers broke formation and approached the human ships alone. Should we fire? Asked. A gunner. No, So-Ra said, watching the dogs on her bridge. They weren't showing any signs of danger. Let it come. The Void Stalker phased through the hull of Dong Min's ship. Alarms should have been ringing, but instead there was only silence. A few minutes later, Dong Min's voice came back over the communicator, full of wonder. It's not here to fight, he said. It's here to meet us. What do you mean? So-Ra asked. It's young, Dong Min explained. Younger than the others. It wanted to see humans and dogs up close. Nari is showing it how we work together. Through the ship's internal cameras, they could see something amazing. The young Void Stalker was sitting across from Dong Min and Nari like they were having a peaceful meeting. It would make a gesture, Nari would respond, and somehow they were understanding each other. "This is impossible," Primatel said from his science ship. "Void Stalkers don't communicate with other species." "Maybe they never had a reason to before," Dr. Haywan said thoughtfully. The Alpha's electromagnetic pulses changed tone. Now they seemed less curious and more sad. "What's it saying now?" So-Ra asked. It was Tae-Hoon who provided the answer. The big dog stood up on the bridge and walked to the view screen, looking directly at the Alpha. He made a low, mournful sound that seemed to carry across space itself. "Loneliness," Dr. Haywan whispered. "The Alpha is lonely." "Lonely?" Nixara asked. "It's the most dangerous predator in the galaxy." "That's exactly why it's lonely," Haywan explained. "Think about it. The Void Stalkers are perfect hunters. Nothing can challenge them, nothing can understand them. They've been alone in space for so long that they've forgotten what it's like to have equals." The Alpha's pulses continued, and more dogs throughout the fleet began responding. It was like watching a conversation between two species who had been waiting their entire evolution to meet. "It's offering us something," Dong Min said suddenly. "The young one is showing me images." "What kind of images?" "Deep space. Beyond the galaxy. There are things out there, dangerous things, that even Void Stalkers fear. It's asking if we want to help them hunt." The bridge went silent. The Alpha wasn't here to destroy the Council worlds. It was here to recruit humans and their pack partners for something much bigger. "But why us?" So-Ra asked. Tae-Hoon walked back to her and sat down, looking up with wise eyes. In that moment, she understood. "Because we're the first species they've met that hunts in packs with other predators," she said. "We're the first ones who understand what they are." The Alpha's electromagnetic pulses changed again, becoming more urgent. "It says, 'There's not much time,'" Dong Min translated. "The things in deep space are coming toward the galaxy. The Void Stalkers have been trying to stop them alone, but they need help." "What kind of things?" So-Ra asked. The young Void Stalker showed Dong Min new images, and his voice became worried. "Creatures that eat space itself? That turn stars into nothing. The Void Stalkers call them the Devourers." Engineer Jae Sung looked up from his sensors with confusion. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of the galaxy. Something's coming through from intergalactic space." "How long do we have?" So-Ra asked. The Alpha's pulses became more intense. Through their connection with the dogs, the humans could feel its urgency. "Days," Dong Min said quietly. "Maybe less." "Captain." So-Ra looked around her bridge at the mixture of humans, aliens, and dogs all working together. A few days ago, these same aliens had been terrified of the dogs. Now they were all part of the same pack. "Tell the Alpha we accept," she said. "Ma'am?" Jae Sung asked. "If there are worse things than Void Stalkers coming to our galaxy, then we need all the help we can get. And if the Void Stalkers need pack hunters to help them fight, then that's what we'll give them." She opened a communication channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Captain So-Ra. We're about to form the strangest alliance in galactic history. Humans, aliens, dogs, and Void Stalkers working together to protect our home." She looked at the Alpha through the view screen. Around the fleet, hundreds of Void Stalkers were now communicating with human dog teams. "Welcome to the pack," she said. The Alpha's response was a pulse of pure joy that every dog in the fleet felt. For the first time in eons, the Void Stalkers were no longer alone. But at the edge of the galaxy, something vast and hungry was moving toward them, and even this new alliance might not be enough to stop it. 6 months after the first meeting between humans and Void Stalkers, the universe looked very different. What had started as a desperate alliance had become something new, a partnership that changed how every species in the galaxy thought about friendship and family. Ambassador Wu Jin stood on the observation deck of the new deep space station Alpha, watching something that would have been impossible to imagine a year ago. Outside the station, human children played in zero gravity with young Void Stalkers, their laughter echoing through the communication systems. The young Void Stalkers had learned to be gentle, while the children had learned not to be afraid of creatures that looked like living nightmares. Beside him, Dr. Young Sik was reviewing data that told an amazing story. His research had discovered something incredible in Earth's fossil records, proof that humans had been forming alliances with apex predators for much longer than anyone knew. "Look at this," Young Sik said, showing Wu Jin images of ancient cave paintings. Humans hunting alongside creatures that were clearly not Earth animals. We thought these were mythical beasts, but now we know they were probably other species like the Void Stalkers, Wu Jin finished. Humans have been doing this for thousands of years. Through the observation window, they could see Lieutenant Dong Min working with a group of mixed human, alien, and Void Stalker teams. What had started as a military alliance was now becoming something much deeper. The young Void Stalker that had first approached his ship, now called Sung Ho by the humans, rarely left his side. "The Council wants to make it official," Wu Jin said. "A formal treaty establishing humans as the galaxy's predator liaison specialists." "And the Void Stalkers?" Young Sik asked. "They want us to join them in exploring beyond the galaxy, to help them hunt the Devourers in intergalactic space." It had been 3 months since the Devourers arrived at the galaxy's edge. The battle had been unlike anything in recorded history. Not a war between enemies, but a coordinated hunt between allied predator species. Humans provided strategy and technology. Dogs provided tracking and pack coordination. Void Stalkers provided power and mobility, and the other alien races provided support and logistics. The Devourers had been defeated, but not destroyed. They had retreated back to the void between galaxies, where they waited and planned their next attack. "The Alpha wants an answer soon," Wu Jin said. "Will humanity join the Deep Pack?" Young Sik looked out at the children playing with the young Void Stalkers. One human boy was teaching a Void Stalker pup how to play fetch with a ball of condensed energy. The pup was learning to control its phasing abilities so it wouldn't accidentally drop the ball into another dimension. "What does Captain So-Ra think?" Young Sik asked. "She's already volunteering to lead the first deep space expedition," Wu Jin said with a smile. "Along with her pack, of course." Indeed, So-Ra had become something of a legend among both humans and Void Stalkers. Her ability to coordinate mixed-species pack hunts had saved countless lives during the Devourer invasion. The Alpha itself had requested that she become the official liaison between human and Void Stalker forces. A gentle chime announced an incoming message. The view screen activated to show Regent Molthuri speaking from the council chambers. "Ambassador Wu Jin," he said, "the council has reached a decision about the human proposal." "We're listening," Wu Jin replied. "After much discussion, we have agreed to establish the Predator Alliance Protocol. Humans will become the official mediators for any dangerous species that requests to join galactic civilization. Young Sick raised an eyebrow. Any dangerous species? The Voidstalker Alliance has proven that even the most feared predators can become valuable members of our community, Multhuri explained. We want humans to help us establish relationships with other species we might have dismissed as too dangerous before. Through the window, they could see Bada and several other Earth dogs working with Voidstalker pups to establish a perimeter around the playing children. The different species moved together like they had been partners for centuries instead of months. And in return, Wu Jin asked, full membership in the Galactic Council with special status as Apex Mediators, plus unlimited support for your deep space exploration program. It was everything humanity had hoped for when they first approached the galaxy. Full acceptance, respect for their unique abilities, and the chance to explore beyond known space. The Council understands that some humans will choose to stay and help integrate dangerous species into galactic society, Multhuri continued, while others will join the Voidstalkers in protecting the galaxy from external threats. A division of labor, Wu Jin said thoughtfully. Exactly. Some humans will be guardians of civilization, others will be guardians of the void. After the communication ended, Wu Jin and Young Sick stood in comfortable silence, watching the children play. A young Vorthak girl was carefully braiding ribbons into Taehoon's fur while he sat patiently, enjoying the attention. Nearby, a group of young Traken were learning to communicate with Voidstalker pups through electromagnetic pulses. You know, what I find most interesting? Young Sick said finally. What's that? A year ago, every species in the galaxy was afraid of predators. Now they're learning that predators aren't the enemy. Loneliness is. He was right. The Voidstalkers hadn't been attacking other species because they were evil. They had been attacking because they were the ultimate hunters with no equals, no companions, no pack. The loneliness had driven them to the edge of madness. The same thing could have happened to humans if we hadn't learned to make friends with our predators, Young Sick continued. We could have become just as isolated and dangerous. But we didn't, Wu Jin said, watching as Dong Min played a game of chase with Sung Ho, the young Voidstalker phasing in and out of reality while Nari tried to predict where it would appear next. We learned that strength shared is strength multiplied. A new chime announced another incoming message. This time, it was Captain So-Ra, speaking from her ship at the galaxy's edge. Ambassador, she said, we're ready to begin the first deep patrol. The Alpha has agreed to teach us navigation techniques for intergalactic space. Behind her, they could see her crew. Humans, aliens, dogs, and Voidstalkers all working together to prepare for a journey beyond the known universe. How long will you be gone? Wu Jin asked. 6 months for the first patrol. We'll establish monitoring stations and early warning systems in case the Devourers return. Be careful out there. So-Ra smiled. We'll have the best pack in the universe watching our backs. As her transmission ended, Wu Jin made his decision. Send a message to Earth, he told Young Sick. Tell them the galaxy is ready to welcome humanity as full partners, and tell them we're going to need a lot more dogs. Young Sick laughed. I think that's one request Earth will be happy to fulfill. Outside the station, the stars seemed brighter somehow. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy not through conquest or technology, but through the simple act of making friends with creatures that others feared. In a few hours, Captain So-Ra's ship would jump beyond the edge of known space, carrying the first mixed-species deep patrol into the void between galaxies. They would face dangers that could destroy entire star systems, but they wouldn't face them alone. And back in the galaxy, at schools and stations throughout Council space, human children and alien children would continue learning that the scariest-looking monsters often made the most loyal friends. The universe was vast and full of dangers, but for the first time in galactic history, no one had to face those dangers alone. The pack had grown beyond anything anyone had imagined, and it would continue growing as long as there were lonely predators looking for a family and humans willing to teach them that friendship was stronger than fear. In the end, that's what made humans special in the galaxy, not their technology or their weapons, but their infinite capacity to see potential friends where others saw only monsters. And in a universe full of wonders and terrors, that might just be the most important skill of all.